Hello everyone, this is a quick video about not scrolling on our phones before night and a possible solution to help prevent that from happening in the first place. Scrolling on our phones before night, I'm sure most of you watching this video have heard one place or another that scrolling on our phones before bed probably isn't very good for us. It's something that can lead to a shortened attention span, lead to us maybe not getting the best sleep before bed, in part because of, say, the brightness of the screen, or even if you're using a dark mode or blue blockers or something like that, just getting that kind of stimulation before bed of, just that dopamine hit after dopamine hit of well, maybe not hit after hit, but scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, there's actually something I like. You get that little hit of dopamine and it just keeps us scrolling for more. It's something that has so it can potentially have a negative impact on our sleep quality, and then also can just lead to more stress before bed. You're scrolling along, and I know for me, I'm getting in my feed, say on Instagram, jujitsu videos or Muay Thai videos or health-related videos or different things like that. And then every once in a while, it's like something that's just really stressful or depressing, and it's like, oh, that's what I want to see before bed. You don't control what's going to come up in your feed, of course. And so, scrolling before bed really not the best choice. It's also something that could lead to folks scrolling for too long. It's like, I'm just going to scroll for a couple of minutes, and the next thing you know, it's been half an hour, and it's like, oh, where did the time go? I was just in a time warp there. And so can lead to us staying up later than we might anticipate or might have planned on, and getting to bed later, and sleep deprivation is not a good thing either. Scrolling before bed is something that's it can be challenging to avoid. It's a pitfall that I've fallen into several times. It's something that I actively try to avoid. Thankfully, haven't fallen into that pitfall for a while, and in large part, or in part anyways, I like to think part of it's because of my willpower, but also part of it is because I started just going back to reading fiction before going to bed, instead of that, okay, I'll just maybe spend a few minutes on Instagram or a few minutes here or there, and then fighting the temptation or whatnot. It's just, I just don't go on social media before going to bed, and I'll just read some fiction. Advantages of reading fiction are that you're actually expanding your mind, you're enhancing your attention span as opposed to eroding your attention span. It's really, really entertaining, and obviously books and reading are great. Granted, a potential downside of reading fiction is that if you're in a really good book, you'll possibly stay up even later than you might have scrolling on your phone. But I know myself, in the past, when I have oh my gosh, I was planning to go to bed, half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, and I've been just scrolling on my phone, and I'm no better for it. It's like, just a sense of regret afterwards, why did I stay up late doing this? Versus, oh, I stayed up an hour later than I wanted, planned to, reading fiction. It's like, well, at least it was a good book, minimal regrets in comparison. So at least it's something more worthwhile. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's always ironic when folks are on social media condemning scrolling and things like that, or saying oh, scrolling's not good, and here we are making content for social media. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to throw social media under the bus. When I am scrolling, and if there is a time where I'm oh, I scrolled longer than I meant to, oftentimes I think, well, at least I learned about a new jujitsu move, or at least I saw some inspiring clip or something interesting about some health related thing, or I follow a lot of people who give parenting advice, because I've got 3 kids, and there's just certain folks that I like to follow and get little tidbits and things like that. So it's not to say that it's completely fruitless, but I think that there's I think we should be in control of when we want to be spending our time on social media, and I think that scrolling is just something that's so easy to kind of fall into that trap, especially at the end of the day. You're tired, you put in a long day, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to do this to kind of wind down a little bit. I think we're a lot more susceptible to spending more time on social media than we intended to at the end of the day. So just a little plug for get a book. My wife, she reads fiction before going to bed as well, and she prefers the hard copy, like a actual physical books. Go to the library regularly with our kids and get books. But I like a good old solid real book as well. But oftentimes I just buy them on my phone because it's more convenient and portable, and I don't have a light on my side of the bed, so it's easier to use my phone. Yeah, just just a little, non-earth shattering tip. If you're listening to this and you're like, I do scroll before bed and I'd rather not do that, but I like to do something before going to bed, fiction, wonderful stuff. Lots of great books out there, obviously. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I've conquered my scrolling temptation using some other method, whether it's, if you're like, I read fiction too, consider posting in the comments and letting us know. Or if you have figured out some other method, then please, let us know. It's not a one-size-fits-all for everyone, and be curious to know what other folks are doing in that regard. Or if you have other thoughts about the scrolling, or if there's some other ill effect from scrolling that you've heard about that I didn't mention here, or if you have heard something where it's like, actually, by golly, scrolling before bed is good for us. I can't imagine that's the case, but if it is, then be curious to know about that too. So if anybody has any questions or other types of comments on this video, please, okay, let me start again there. Those comments will be welcome. Any other comments also welcome. Any questions about this topic or anything else, please post in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer as soon as I can.